Hey, how about them tops, son?
All day, SEC boys. SEC, they supposed to be SEC. Crazy all day, baby.
You're listening to the RedOUT Podcast.
So like a lot of you, I get those annoying phone calls, the Medicare, Medicaid. But the real wake-up call for me was when I ordered 2 computers from Amazon. But I didn't order 2 computers from Amazon, you say. Oh, somebody else did. Yeah, that was a close call for me. I realized that my personal information was out there, and I was vulnerable. But how are so many people able to get a hold of my information? One reason might be irresponsible companies. For example, AT&T revealed that over 73 million customer records, both former and existing, were exposed on the dark web. They recommended those affected use strong passwords, monitor account activity, and consider credit freezes or fraud alerts from credit bureaus. That's a lot of work for us to do because one company couldn't keep their data safe. This is why I use Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura does all of this for me, and best of all, it's all in one app. If my info was compromised in the AT&T data breach, I wouldn't worry because Aura would already be protecting me. Don't sacrifice your privacy because it's a chore to keep up with it. Aura makes it easy. Aura is always on, doing the hard work of keeping my information safe. I value my privacy, and so should you. You guys should check out Aura. You can go to aura.com/RedOut, or that link is in the description below to start your free trial. Thanks to Aura for sponsoring today's video. And let's get back to that Hilltopper action. Welcome into another RedOUT Podcast. Thanks to our sponsor, Aura. We appreciate your support. If you want to support us, you can go to patreon.com/RedOut. We appreciate your support. It's because of our donors that we can do episodes like this. So we appreciate you all. Matt, how's it going, buddy?
Good, man. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Let me put my AirPod in so y'all can hear me a little bit better. But we got some quick mid-season or midweek game coming in. So this we got a Wednesday game this week. That's why we're coming at you early with the episode. And so we played. I just went blank. We played UTEP last week. We'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah, I just went blank. I did.
I'm going on mute the rest of the podcast. I'm going to talk, and you just push the button at the end, okay? But
I'll be Vanna White. You can be Pat Sajak, okay? And I'll just be like, there. All right. But yes, you got some other sports you wanted to talk about real quick?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Okay. So a couple other like fall sports updates. Obviously we talk about volleyball pretty often on this show, but just an update on the volleyball team. They are 15-6 overall. They have won all their conference games. They did struggle this week mysteriously against FIU. FIU's like 2-18 now. For some reason, we needed 5 sets twice to beat them. So that would have been a real disaster for any kind of at-large hopes that WKU may have. But they made it through and they won. So we move on. But interesting. It makes you wonder, are they starting to slip? Is there some kind of internal whatever? Or is it just kind of a blip on the radar? Maybe FIU just gave them a hard time. Who knows? But anyway, they won, and they're looking quite good as per usual. Got a few more losses than they normally do have, but they played the tough schedule in the non-conference like we talked about a lot. They still have several games coming up. They play La Tech and Diddle on the 18th and 19th, which is later this week, Friday and Saturday. Then they go to UTEP. Then they get New Mexico State in Diddle. Beginning in November. Then they go to Sam Houston, come back for Liberty, and then it's time for Conference USA tournament in late November. So they still have plenty of games left to kind of make their mark and continue to build their large resume. Obviously, they're expected to win just about every match, but we shall see. WKU Soccer has kind of had a struggle this year. They looked pretty decent early, got a couple wins, but now they've settled into a 3-7-3 record. reason we mention them specifically is they only have 3 more matches until it's time for tournament. So hopefully they get sharpened up, maybe win 1 or 2 or get a tie in there or 2. They play Liberty at home on October 19th, which is Saturday, 6 p.m. Make sure you go out and support the Lady Tops. Then they go to FIU on Sunday the 27th. And then Friday the 1st against Sam Houston at home will be the last game of the regular season. Then the Conference USA tournament is in Miami, Florida, November 6th through November 10th. So make sure you keep your eye on WKU Soccer. Maybe they can pull together a couple wins here, maybe make a run in the Conference USA tournament. The other kind of non-football news, WKU basketball and the Lady Tops have been, they're now practicing officially and everything like that. They also had an unofficial scrimmage against Mississippi State, and according to sources, quote unquote, whatever, they lost by 10. So in Mississippi State, for context, is obviously in the SEC. They're picked kind of lower middle of the pack, so probably not a great Power 5 team, or Power 4, I guess, or whatever. But still, a 10-point loss against Power 5 or Power 4, whatever you want to call it, is not a terrible loss, especially, right as the team is coming together. So signs of decency, not a mandate that they're going to be an NCAA tournament team, but interesting to know that they can hang with the big boys, so to speak. So obviously as we get more news and everything, we will continue to get you that information. I know David, my dad, I believe he's working on a basketball article, just kind of going over the old pieces that have come back and then the new pieces that fill in the holes. So be sure you're watching out for news from the towel rack on WKU basketball. Women's basketball looks to be okay, should be much bigger than they've been in about 2 decades. So we'll see if that translates to some wins. But I think they were picked 4th in the preseason in the I think it's either the media or the coaches poll. Anyway, 4th in the preseason. So we'll see how it goes. Should be coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, it must be something in the water to get some bigger girls, I guess. But no, I just mess
They
around.
definitely made a concentrated effort. Like we're talking, like Western Lady Toppers very rarely have anyone that's taller than 6'1" or 6'2" that can do anything. I mean, they've got like 6 or 7 girls, I forget the number, that are 6 feet or taller, and several of them are 6'3", 6'4", one maybe 6'5". I mean, they've got some big girls that finally they should be able to compete with some of those teams that have some height in Conference USA and Power 5 teams as well. So we'll see. Hopefully the formula works.
Oh yeah. I mean, I look forward to seeing the girls play. And losing by 10 is it's nothing to be disappointed in. Loss is a loss in a scrimmage, but I mean, you're hanging in there. You're doing well. So,
and it means basically nothing. I mean, but it's a sign that they didn't get blown out, and who knows? But they should be, regardless of what the results are and something that's unofficial that you can't really see. They should be pretty good. They're probably not going to have the size to compete with the very biggest teams in the country, but they'll probably do pretty well in Conference USA.
Yeah, just build off of it. Build off it every year. So, football. Last week, Matt and I made predictions. We made predictions on the UTEP game, and I do have to kind of brag on the two of us. Matt said 48. It's not on this sheet. Matt said 48, and I said 42. And I think we were both pretty much like right on it. What was it, 44 to 17?
You said 42 to 14?
Yeah, I think I was 42-14.
Yeah, that's really close.
Which,
Nice
I mean,
job there.
that's honestly, I appreciate it. That's honestly not a bad showing for Western. Even though they did have some mistakes. I mean, the most glaring flaring mistake they had was coming out, letting UTEP come out right after half and run that one back. And I don't know if it was just laziness or somebody lost, had a messed up assignment or what, but you can't make those mistakes.
I'm definitely at the time, it wasn't like the guy made some extraordinary play or something. He basically made one cut and just ran up the right side. It was one of those three or four guys kind of just got way out of position. I mean, it was over as soon as he got through the first little line of kind of through the aisle there. It was over. There was no chance once he got to about the 25 that anybody was going to catch him unless he tripped. That was rough. But you learn from it, and I think we were talking off the air, so to speak. You kind of want to still have the result that never really scares you, but it catches your attention that you're like, hey, we've got things we need to fix. We got to fix special teams. We got to fix, quarterback decision making. We've got to not give up a 76-yard pass play. There were some things in this game that catch your attention. It's like, okay, this is stuff that we can work on, and we definitely can't be playing around because we tried to screw this game up, tried to make it close, and UTEP just wasn't good enough. But UTEP played is interesting because UTEP played pretty well. They didn't just pee down their leg and just screw everything up and throw 10,000 interceptions. It was a clean game. They had 2 penalties. They were able to move the ball some. They didn't make stupid mistakes. They weren't chippy and dirty they played well. They just didn't have the talent to do anything about it. Well, if you screw up against Sam Houston coming up, or Liberty or Jacksonville State or somebody that has a little bit more firepower, you're going to be in trouble.
I agree. It is good to see at least evidently their quarterback doesn't throw at all.
UTEP or Sam Houston?
Yes, UTEP.
Okay, gotcha.
He was 3 for 7, 96 yards, 1 TD, 1 interception. Unless he got hurt, and I didn't realize it. But the running back had 119 yards, and their big wide receiver had a 76-yard. I'm assuming a 76-yard touchdown pass. So
okay, you may be looking at I don't know if you're looking at highlights on the ESPN or something like the.
It's McConnell. It was McConnell's who they've got listed out there.
Okay. So McConnell was 3 for 7, 96 yards, touchdown, interception, sacked once. Skylar Locklear also came in and was 11 for 17 for 82 yards.
There we go. Okay, because I was going to say, it's like y'all just gave up on the pass altogether, evidently. But no, okay. They had 178 passing yards total. We'll have a little blurb up here showing you the stats. Pause to watch those. But as far as offense goes, they were pretty balanced. 170 passing, 150 rushing. Western actually was pretty decent too. 264 passing, 218 rushing. So that's okay. Yeah, I've actually got the kickoff return playing right now. And you're right, dude. There was the only person within like 10 yards was bad.
Yeah, seriously, once they got to the 20-25, it was over. There was no chance. But
I was waiting for the dude to jump the rail and go into the suites there. Hank Wilson Realty Suites. Be like, I need a drink. I'm thirsty.
So, one thing I really liked about this was the rushing yardage for the tops. First of all, UTEP does a really good job stopping the pass. They have a good pass defense. They're yet to give up 300 yards passing, even though they're 0-6. So it tells you that they have some pieces that can play. They just don't have enough to put together. But so they made it tough for WKU to pass, and Western also has a young quarterback and stuff. So there's some obstacles there. So what Western did was just kind of take what they were given, and they were able to run the ball and come up with 218 yards rushing. Yards gained rushing. And then you had Some losses there, mostly with Belkamp getting sacked 3 times. Um, I mean, it was nice to see, some balance, plenty of options. They used the jet sweep effectively. There was a lot of good things. They did run some QB draw, read option type stuff. Caden scrambled at the right times, pretty much. Didn't do anything really dumb and get himself killed like he has some this year already. So it was nice, positive stuff in the running game. And they did a good job having actual balance because that's what UTEP was giving them. And it was a formula to win. It obviously helped the offense overall. He scored 44 points and could have easily had more, but you kicked some field goals. So uh, bravo on that. And it was nice to see the Tops win in another way. And it was pretty easy, other than you have a 13-point lead and then actually 10 in the second half. They kicked another field goal. And then you completely shut them down defensively and moved on and won by 27. It's nice to see that type of trend.
Yeah, I can't brag enough about the guys. I mean, that was a great performance. Like you said, there's still things to work on, but they are learning and growing. I mean, if you think about it, a couple of weeks back, where we had Boston College, where we were all really down and everything's going to shit. We're going to burn this place down. We end up coming back. And think about it like this too. After this game this week, we do go on bye. We do have a bye week. So, and then the next game is another Wednesday game. So that'll be fun. Can't wait for that. So who is the next game after Sam? Kennesaw State, the day before Halloween. So that'll be fun. But
12 people in the stands.
Yes, 12 people. Yes. But talking to Sam Houston, this is going to be a tough game. They are a very tough opponent. They are actually second place in the conference right now, and Western is right at third. And talking at least with looking at at least with Vegas odds, they're giving Sam Houston 3 points. So you get 2.5 for home games. So they at least are predicting this to be a very close game. I know last year, if I'm not mistaken, Sam Houston was not a very high scoring game. But it appears that they are a very high powered offense, and their defense is at least decent.
Been kind of trying to break it down, trying to see where there might be an advantage or whatever. And so last year, Sam Houston, even though I think they ended up 3-9 last year, they didn't have a win for a while, and then they picked up some late momentum late. They had 0 offense last year for about 7 or 8 games. They had no ability to do anything. It was really, really bad. Couldn't do a thing. And they started picking up a little bit of momentum. Told everybody, I was like, if they could have any kind of quarterback, they could have any kind of running game, anything on offense at all, they would be a decent football team because their defense was amazing. Like they played BYU, and I think they lost like 13-0 with 0 offense. So their defense was on the field the whole time, gave up 13 points. The offense did nothing for them, and they were able to hang with BYU, a pretty solid now power team. And there were examples like that early in the year where it's like, wow, they must be pretty decent on defense. Well, they're good on defense again, but now they have a quarterback that leads them in rushing. They get well over 200 yards a game rushing. And he can still also pass some. He's not a prolific passer. He doesn't have this beautiful, he kind of looks like Tim Tebow throwing the ball or something, like kind of that kind of feel of a player. Not as dynamic
Tebow.
or whatever. Yeah, I know that'd be a trigger for you there, bud. But
anyway,
he's a good player. and he can definitely. I mean, he's leading the team in rushing on a team that gets over 200 yards per game, and then he's also passing for nearly 200 himself. So really solid, interesting player. A lot of read option, RPO type stuff, but a lot of times um, they end up running the ball. And so it's an interesting formula, but it works, and they're scoring plenty per game. And you look and you say, okay, well, they're only getting a couple hundred yards passing. They're probably not really lighting up the scoreboard, but they control time possession with all those runs. They run the ball 2/3 of the time. They pass when they have to, and they score 30 or 40 points a game most times out. So, and their defense is really good. Holds people to less than 350 yards a game. So very solid defense. So it's interesting. It's a really tough matchup. Contrasting styles.
I will say, I just want to look back on the schedule. We won last year 28-23. And Austin Reed threw for 392 yards. Malachi Corley had 171 receiving yards. And Elijah Young had 55 total yards.
Was that the game that he had like 5 interceptions or something, though?
I don't know. You're going to make me look into this.
Sorry, I know I'm like making
No, you're good. No, you're good. You're good.
Previous years. I think it might have been that game. But
you might be, because it was kind of back and forth there for a while.
Yeah. I think that might have been the game. Honestly, I don't know.
I've slept since then. Let's see. Yes, we did. Yes, Austin Reed threw 4 interceptions in that game.
Yeah, so he started out like everybody was calling just bench him, sit him down, whatever, screaming from the rafters, and then he comes back and he throws all those
hold on,
touchdowns.
let's enunciate that. Bench him. Matt was doing his backwoods country accent, and I don't know what he was trying to say there. It sounded like he said something else.
What do you think I said, Devin?
We'll talk about it off the air.
Okay. Yes, sir.
We also did have 5 penalties on that game.
Cool.
But
yeah,
this is one of those games. I think it is going to be close. I think it's definitely going to be a close game. And, Western's defense is doing really well. The offense is starting to come along. And I think Sam Houston's kind of in the same boat. I think their offense is in the same boat as our offense, and their defense is somewhat in the same boat because, in the last 5 games, the lowest scoring game they played was against New Mexico State. Well, at least their opponent was 11 points. And, they played Hawaii, and they scored 13. Hawaii scored 13 points. The most scoring points was Texas State, who had 39 points. And not to mention Central Florida, who beat them early in the season. But, that's pretty indicative for their defense that they're able to hold them. And, of course, their offense is scoring an average of, 35 points or so.
Yeah, there's like 33 or whatever. Yeah.
They scored – well, out of the last 5, I'm counting at least the games they've won. They've scored 2 31s, a 40, and a 41. So I'm counting that's closer to 35, 36. Yeah. I'm not counting that Central Florida loss because, if you counted ours, then that would be the same boat as, Alabama beating us 63-0, and it's not really a good and it's not indicative of our performance. So
I think the one area that I think – like obviously the contrasting styles on offense, right? Obviously that's a difference, but ultimately they produce similarly. So it'll be interesting. Sam Houston wants to control time possession. WKU doesn't care about time possession. So how does that play out? Does Sam Houston have 45 minutes of possession? Because obviously that's a problem. Because Western needs to have the ball enough, but they also don't care, and they could score quickly, and as long as the defense can breathe, they'll be okay. But also I think the big difference that I think this is why I'm gonna pick Western to win, even though I think Sam Houston might be the slightly better team. It's close. It's like 50-50, truly 50-50. Somebody's going to screw up and that's going to be the difference, or, somebody's going to get worn out, injury, something's going to tip the tide a little bit. Penalty call, some big call or whatever, something like that. Review. I think it's really going to be tight. But the thing that I see that's the biggest difference between the two teams is on special teams. The two kickers are both good, and both teams have used them some and whatever. That's not what I'm getting at. But Sam Houston has had, I think it's 6 kicks go out of bounds already. They've only had 8 touchbacks on like 36 kickoffs. So they're giving up a lot of returns, or they're giving the ball at the 35 once a game. So I think that could be a factor. And also the punt differential. Western is punting for 47 yards a punt. Sam Houston kicks for about 38. So there's significant opportunity for some hidden yardage to play a factor. So if everything else seems even, maybe WKU can find a way in the kicking and field position type of battle to make the difference. So I think that's why I'm calling the Tops to win in a really, really tight one.
You want to put a score on that?
Sure. I don't think I've announced any kind of score, so I'm going off a feel here. But I think it's going to be kind of high scoring, but not super high, because I think both defenses have really kind of locked in. I think Western's is locked in and doing well. I think Sam Houston's is a legit defense, but I think both offenses are going to be able to produce. I'm going to say it's in the 20s.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, I think I did put it in one article. So remember what I said. I said 29-26 WKU. I think it's going to be weird. There's going to be some odd, like field goals, and Sam Houston likes to use field goals. They've kicked a lot. I think it's going to be some kind of weird score like that, 29-26.
I'm going to say 25-21 as the king of the hill this week. I'll say 25-21 WKU.
Dang it, Dale.
I agree with you. Do what?
Dang it, Dale.
Hey, man, you got to get that ball, and you got to get that ball, and they got to throw it in the football right there. I mean, you know what I'm saying, man? But that's my Boomhauer voice. But I do think ESPN is kind of right in a way. I think it is going to be a very close game. I think, at least from what I'm looking at with Sam Houston, it looks like they are a little more rush oriented than we are. I mean, their running back, he's up to 370, 4 TDs. Ours is at 278, 2 TDs. So that's telling me that they're a little more rush heavy. And, looking at their quarterback too, he's at 859 yards and 7 TDs, 5 interceptions. And, Caden is at 1147. And he technically didn't even start the full season. Now, I don't know if their quarterback is, a second stringer or what the deal is with him. But, he's still not gotten near the numbers. Well, actually, he's thrown 132 passes and Caden's thrown 135. But so he's not as a dependable a quarterback as Caden is. But the rushing attack is where it's going to come in. They're going to, like you were saying, with the time, game clock and everything like that, they may just take advantage like a Navy style. I don't know. I haven't watched Sam Houston this year. But
they're in the gun. They're in
Yeah.
the gun. So they're running the kind of spread read option. They'll run some jet
RPOs.
sweeps, some stuff like that. But it's basically how can we possibly find a weird way to run the ball? That's kind of what they're doing. And then they'll pass when they have to.
Okay. Yeah.
Play action, a lot of play action, and then, taking some shots.
Hey, that is a very good
Works.
strategy. It works. Like you said, it does work. So you just got to take advantage of it. And when, stay at home, don't bite on the runs. If you're in the DB, let your D line and linebackers kind of sniff things out, and then, take advantage and just jump in there and pick it off and take it to the house, and let's win this one. Come back from Texas with a win. And I may put some money on this one this week. I may put $10 on it just to kind of cement my feeling that I think Western is going to win. So I'm going to put some money on it this week, especially since the money line is in favor for Western this week. And maybe do a parlay with, Caden scoring or something like that. So that is it for this week. Baseball is going to be playing on the 25th, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's at the Sounds. That's a charity game, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I think that's a charity game. It's basketball.
That's
Basketball's
against
a charity
Tennessee.
game against
That's my bad.
UAB.
Yes, that's at the Nashville Sounds against Tennessee. My bad, you're right. The charity exhibition is for the Harold and Juanita Kuhn Teen Center for Boys and Girls Club. Bowling Green, that's against UAB, and that's on the 27th, which is a Sunday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm going to have those scrolling through one way or the other, so watch me not do that later. But anyway, we appreciate you all. Yeah, we appreciate you all. If you are needing a VPN, check out Aura. They're great. They help us out, and they protect our information. If you would like, you can support us on Patreon for the less than the cost of a cup of coffee. You can support our podcast, $3 a month is our lowest tier. It lets you in our Discord where you can talk goofy stuff with the rest of us and throw some episode ideas out there if you want to or whatever. And we also shout you out. So we appreciate your support. Thanks, Matt. We appreciate you, buddy, for coming in on this crazy short week. And then we'll have a bye week next week. So we'll be back at our normal time to bore you for the full hour. But we appreciate you all.
Should be riveting.
Yes. And hopefully we'll have a really good game to talk about. And we can kind of get in depth on this analysis instead of the shorter stuff like we've had to do. But we appreciate you all. And as always, guys, go Tops.
Tops beat the BearCats.
Beat them BearCats. All right.